CNN News.
Last story this evening, which should be pretty short, but warning, it does mention, sexual assault. So if you're sensitive to those things, I would, flip to a different channel, But if you're not and you want to know what bullshit's been happening, I would stay tuned. But we covered this when it happened, right? About the rape of the Palestinian prisoner caught on tape, as well as we've covered multiple instances of sexual assault at Sid Taiman specifically, right? But this is from Ricky Hale at Council of State Media, who writes, Israel arrests the IDF whistleblower who exposed the rape of the Palestinian prisoner. So a lot of you probably seen this video, right? Where they hold up these shields to block the view of the cameras, right? While, raping a man with, batons. The victim was picked out of a row, blindfolded and handcuffed men, and led to a corner where masked IDF soldiers used shields to block the view of two security cameras. However, one of the cameras captured just enough of the ensuing crime. The victim was beaten and raped so severely that he required major surgery. The doctor who treated him said he couldn't believe an Israeli prison guard could do such a thing. In a normal country, this would be a huge scandal, but in Israel, people took to the streets to protest the IDF's right to rape. 200 Israelis, including 3 politicians, stormed Sid Taiman and demanded the suspected rapist be released. Many Israelis seemed ready to start a civil war over the right to rape. As a result, authorities backed down, and the rapists appear to be evading justice. Although the case is still before the military court, the rapists are not in prison nor facing any legal restrictions, and the main suspect is now a celebrity in Israel. He gets to go on TV. Look at him, Collin. He's wearing his old yarmulke on the shows. It's nice, right? So we've covered that. 4 of the suspects held a press conference to protest their innocence and demand dismissal of the trial. They wore ski masks to avoid identification and prosecution at the International Criminal Court. Nothing screams innocent like covering your face. Yeah. No one disputes that the rape took place, but Israel Katz calls it a blood libel because libel is when you tell the truth now. Anyone who spreads blood libels against IDF troops is unfit to wear the Army's uniform, Katz said. In a normal society, anyone who exposed institutional rapes would be a hero, but in Israel, they are traitors. You will therefore be unsurprised to hear the Israeli lawyer who admitted leaking the footage has been fired and arrested. It makes you wonder how much similar footage has not been leaked. If the reports from survivors and witnesses are anything to go by, it's quite a lot. A report from the UN Commission of Inquiry found that thousands of Palestinians have been subjected to widespread and systematic abuse, physical and psychological violence, and sexual and gender-based violence, accounting to the war crime against humanity of torture and the war crime of rape and other forms of sexual violence. Israel dismisses the report as anti-Semitism, but please do tell me more about those fabricated mass rapes on October 7th. Israel takes rape so seriously that it has now launched a criminal investigation into the leaks, meaning that there is a very real prospect the whistleblower could face prison rather than the rapists. The whistleblower was the IDF's top lawyer, Major General Yifat Tomri Yerushalmi. Yeah, that's it. She was told by Israel Katz that she would not be allowed to return to her job, so she was forced to resign. It would seem that in Israel, no one has the authority to tell the truth, not even senior figures in the military. In her resignation letter, Tomri Yerushalmi wrote, unfortunately, this basic understanding that these are actions which must never be taken even against the vilest of detainees no longer convinces everyone. Tomri Yerushalmi explains she leaked the footage to counter claims in Israel that rape evidence has been fabricated. She wanted to show the world Israel does not cover up such crimes and is capable of investigating itself. But she has inadvertently proven the opposite. The demonic Netanyahu made a televised speech and we expressed his fury that exposing the rapes caused Israel reputational damage. He said it was the most severe propaganda attack in Israel's history. It's worth remembering Netanyahu is seizing control of social media algorithms to protect Israel from what he calls fake news. It turns out that when Zionists talk about fake news, they really mean the truth. I can sense your shock. Eli Cohen, a member of the Israeli security cabinet, said Tomer Yerushalmi stabbed the rapist in the back. The fucking irony, adding, we are talking about treason to go against IDF soldiers, reverse duty soldiers that left their homes in order to fight for all of us, to act against them. There is no other word to describe it. Now you can see how ridiculous it is when Western leaders ask Israel to investigate its own war crimes. As far as Israel is concerned, its soldiers are above international law. Every day, more horrific stories of IDF soldiers raping Palestinians emerge. In one instance, soldiers emptied a fire extinguisher inside a man's rectum. In another, a man had his genitals electrocuted and was savaged by dogs. In another, a man had his intestines ruptured. I can go into more graphic detail, but I shall spare you the full picture. Just know that children are not spared from this rape and torture. Again, I must emphasize the only issue in Israel is that you know about these rapes. They don't want the perpetrators to be prosecuted or the victims to have justice. That's what type of society we are dealing with. Israel is currently voting to introduce the death penalty for Palestinian prisoners, including children. It will not be introducing the death penalty for Israelis, and yet another example of Israeli apartheid at work. Given an awful lot of Israel's prisoners are civilians, such as doctors who were kidnapped as bargaining chips, where is Dr. Hussam, I will ask, you can expect a large number of innocent people to be killed. But this Israel we're talking about here, when is it not killing innocent people? You would hope such a story would at least cause media outcry in the West, but our media is so depraved it has now been playing this down. The BBC can't even say the word rape in its reporting. Even worse, an early version of one article went with the Israeli framing that the real scandal was not the abuse, it was the leak. So, Israeli military's ex-top lawyer arrested, right? So, I mean, they're taking after us for arresting the whistleblowers and not the perpetrators. Given how far-reaching Israel's propaganda efforts are, it's a miracle evidence of this rape ever saw the light of day. It leaves you to wonder how much Palestinian suffering goes unreported, and it highlights the danger of the media blindly reporting Israel's propaganda as fact. Anything Israel claims should automatically assumed to be a lie. Luckily, at our show, it is. Any thoughts, Care Bear?
Well, I'm not surprised, but it is kind of surprising that I'm surprised. Well, I'm surprised breaking points for what I understand. I think they reported on the story this week. That's how I heard about it. I think they reported this on Monday. So, but it almost kind of seems like there's, I don't want to say a glimmer of hope, but at the same time, it's almost like kind of the old propaganda machine seems kind of somewhat falling apart in the sense that even Israelis now seemingly are becoming so disgusted by what their own government is doing or what they're being forced to,
not enough of them, that's for sure.
But, right. So it's kind of nice to see their own actually like having some type of empathy, but at the risk of her own life.
Yeah, now she's going to be arrested and kept in a dungeon, probably with the same act she reported on done to her, because why wouldn't Israel do that? But yeah, it's just sad,
It's sad, but it just shows how depraved Israelis are. And well, at least the state of Israel, how depraved it is. So again, it makes it more heinous, especially like someone like Madani that should know better defending it. Like they have a right to exist. No, they don't.
Not
if you are
anymore. They
committing war
forfeited that
crimes,
shit.
you forfeit that right.
Yeah.
So you shouldn't exist under its current system. You
You
need to
know.
dismantle it, and like if you want to create like a new Zion or whatever, create
Yeah.
it
Hey.
somewhere else.
Yeah.
And leave other things alone.
Poland and
Or at
Germany
least,
and Russia, all of them were options. You know.
right.
So. But anyway.
Or make it one secular state.
Yep.
Where everyone has equal rights and have at it.
Well, talking about these things is why YouTube has demonetized us. So you can scan that QR code on your screen. Go to ko-fi.com/Indie News Network, or links to donate are in the description below. If you can't do that because you're one of the poors like ourselves, just like and subscribe, hit the share button, leave a comment, let us know what you think. Otherwise, thanks for watching.